All right, good morning and welcome to the locker room. We talk sports here, don't mind TV. On that note, first of all, I want to say it was a blast. For those of you that missed the ladies in sports conference, I don't know how to tell you that you missed. I don't know what language. Should I say it in French? C'est papa you missed? Why is my producer pushing me up and down? Yeah, but you missed. It was a fantastic one. So we had a great time out. We had from the goalkeeper of the year for Africa and the goalkeeper of the year in the French League, Women's League, Football League, Chiamaka Ndozie. We heard from Desire Paranozie. So she has retired, but she started her business. Her perfume smells nice. I want to show you how it smells, but you have to go and buy your own copy.
How would you show us how it smells?
That's the Put your nose here. Ah, fantastic smell. All right, so we spoke with her about life after her career. We also spoke with some content creators. It was a full time out. Then we had the United Through Sports. We spoke to Paralympians. We spoke to the world record holder. Actually, she's not just a Paralympian. She's actually a world record holder, power lifter. So we spoke to her about how she started. There were just a lot of women talking business, talking content, talking sports. So if you didn't come, you missed. All right. And then speaking about missing, also last night the Dallas Mavericks missed. In fact, I don't know if they are going to be swept in these finals of the NBA, because you watch the Boston Celtics against Dallas Mavericks, and I don't know any part of the court that the Boston Celtics aren't dominating. So ultimately, the battle I expected to see when Tatum and Jaylen Brown squared up against Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic is non-existent, because the only person that is playing real basketball there is Luka Doncic and Jaylen Brown. So far, so good. The rest of the support cast in Dallas Mavericks has decided that Luka Doncic must lose weight today. So they are now down in the series by 2-0. Let's see how it pans out for them. All right, we have all those stories: who won the French Open, what happened to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We have all those stories and more after Zibby tells us how we can be a part of the locker room this morning.
All right. All you need to do is send us a message on WhatsApp 0809 4440981. You can tweet at smooth981. Hashtag is lockerroom981. You can also catch the live stream on YouTube.
Oh, hi.
Smooth981. That is the channel. So you can catch the live stream, or you can also post a comment on there as well.
All right. Omar, could you just give us the rundown of the headlines?
On the bill this morning, let me do my job, Finidi George says after Super Eagles draw. As Under-17 Women's World Cup qualifier, Flamingos trashed Liberia 4-1 in first leg tie, as Verstappen wins Canada for third year in a row. As Alcaraz says Paris triumph, proudest moment, plans Eiffel Tower tattoo. And then Swiatek wins third straight French Open title, as Modric and Bodmer strike as Croatia clinch first ever victory over Portugal. And then Rice says Euro 2024 hopefuls England have work to do after Iceland defeat, as there is also US lacked respect for Colombia in Molin, according to Peralta.
Exactly. So US squared up against Colombia. In fact, all the teams that are hosting the 2026 World Cup lost over the weekend, and not just by small margins. I think Mexico lost by 4-0. Canada lost by 4-0. And they all lost to South American countries, and the US lost by 5-1. It was almost as if it's Colombia, we can take them. They did them very well. But we'll touch on that later. Let's start with what happened with the Super Eagles, because right now, as it is, that 2026 World Cup is moving further away from us.
Well, Finidi George has something to say. He's asked Nigerians to allow him to do his job after the Super Eagles' disappointing 1-1 draw against South Africa in the 2026 World Cup qualifier on Friday.
All right, so this statement came during the press conference, and I always tell people, it's something I can say. It's the kind of thing when you ask me to make question, I'll be like, look, this is my job, I can do it, you go and do your own job. But it was a question that needed to be asked, and I think some journalists asked him why he preferred Onuachu over Boniface. What was the thought process between what was the thought process involved in his selection? And you know how it is, they'll start mentioning, why didn't this person play, why didn't that person play? And you know, journalists will ask the questions that they will ask. You're there to answer the questions and let us know exactly what your thought process was. But I think he got frustrated with the questions. I just want to say that I hope he knows that when he was signing that contract to become Super Eagles coach, that he was also signing the contract to take the opinions of many armchair coaches, because that's what we do here. Because you can't take the Nigerian job without taking all the criticisms and the analysis from home. So I don't think he reacted well to that. I think part of that was the fact that he actually didn't win the game. You know, because I'm sure everybody is nice when they are winning. I'm sure he would have been a little more tolerant if he had won the game, but he didn't win the game. So that plus maybe should I say a lack of some media training is part of it. But yeah, that's what he said. We should allow him to do his job, and he has another opportunity to do his job today, because the Super Eagles of Nigeria face Benin in Abidjan again in the World Cup qualifier. So now we've played 3 matches, and from a possible 9 points, we have only 3 points. We are in a group that Lesotho is leading. I don't think some people knew Lesotho was a country.
Lesotho is leading this group. Wow.
It is the most ridiculous thing I've seen, that we've played 3 matches and we've gotten only 3 points in a group that contains Benin Republic, Lesotho. I don't know many teams that are above us in the FIFA ranking. So he has the opportunity to do his job, and he needs to stop, you know, getting aggressive in the press conference and start getting aggressive on the pitch, because that first half was a horrible display. You watched it, the players looked disjointed. They didn't look like they knew what to do. At some point, I thought they were playing 4-3-3. Then I thought they were playing 4-4-2. Then I thought they were playing 4-3-2-1. I did not know what they were. My point is that at every point in time, I was guessing what formation he was using. It wasn't clear to me. The second half was a lot better. I still think Nigeria should have gotten a penalty, and maybe, just maybe, would have been able to nick a win. But sometimes when it rains, it pours, and so we got denied that penalty. They didn't even give it a second look. They just looked like there's a coming together. So we got denied that penalty, came away with a draw, and now we are in a precarious position. But like I said, today, 5 p.m., Finidi George and his boys have the opportunity to make me happy. That's it. They're trying to make me happy.
On to other matters now, to Tega's gender and Zibby's gender.
You see?
And I plead the fifth now. I want to be protected by you ladies now. I don't want to be engendered by this, your victory now. Manage it now. You said people are nice when they are winning, so please be nice, both of you. Now, the Nigerian under-17 women's national football team, the Flamingos, secured a comfortable 4-1 victory against Liberia in the first leg of the final qualifying round for the 2024 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup.
Please read it again. They said it's a comfortable what?
They say it's a comfortable 4-1 victory.
Where did we win?
You played away.
Aha! We were playing away. You see, my gender cannot disappoint. When they say fear women, that's what they mean. It's not the other way around. You see, my gender went to Monrovia and comfortably beat them, and then qualified for the World Cup. You don't understand how this thing is. It's all World Cup we are qualifying for. The men are qualifying for World Cup, the women are qualifying for World Cup. But we traveled away to Monrovia.
Imagine that.
And we came back with a comfortable victory. Could you say that again? Just the first sentence.
Omatseye it again.
Omatseye
if you're truly happy for
say
us.
it again. People that lost, say it again.
The Nigerian under-17 women's national football team, the Flamingos.
Say it again.
I wasn't afraid. But really, I would say this. Women's football has grown. I know some people are going to say women's football is the same as men. Look, women's football have grown. There's a reason has grown. There's a reason why, look, the Super Falcons took 16 years to be able to qualify for the Olympics. Women's football is not easy anymore. We talked about this at the LIS conference, and like everybody is now on equal level. And for them to go into tournaments knowing that they could guarantee points. Now they have to actually work for those points. So we talked about that women's football development with footballers that are involved in it. So trust me, it has developed. But the under 17 team went out there, did the job, beat the team comfortably. I have to add that part because that adjective is important for this conversation, which is different from what you do. You're playing at home. It shouldn't be that teams come to Nigeria and imagine that they can walk away with some points.
Ooh.
Teams should not come to Nigeria and think that they can get away with points because that's what teams now believe now. Okay, we are going to go to Nigeria. It doesn't make a difference. It's not possible. They should come to Nigeria and know that if they collect 1 point here, they must sweat blood. And unfortunately, that's not what it is. We just make it comfortable for them. You, South Africa, we dropped 2 points. Unpardonable. We better collect all 3 against Benin and Abidjan.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's move on to the racetracks now. Red Bull's triple world champion Mark Verstappen completed a Canadian Grand Prix hat-trick of victories on a wet, wild, and tricky Sunday at the circuit's Gilles Villeneuve.
I'm telling you, it was a wet, wild, and tricky one. So at the start of the race, everybody except Haas were using intermediate tires. Now, intermediate tires is when, the track is kind of dry, but it's also still raining. So there's water patches everywhere. So intermediate tires is the best. Now, full wet tires are available, and it was raining heavily, and every part of the track was wet. But because they looked at the weather forecast, and the weather had gone according to the forecast all day, and they knew that the rains were soon going to stop, or was still going to reduce, and there will be dry parts of the track. So most constructors used intermediate tires. Haas, on the other hand, decided to use full wet tires. And because the tracks were wet at the start of the race, Haas went from 14th on the grid to 4th. Yeah, because they're driving full wet tires. Unfortunately for them, the tracks started drying out just when they were having a good time. And now they had to go into the pit lane, and you lose like about 20 seconds when you get into the pit lane, when others were still on the track making up that time. So at the end of the day, it turns out that intermediate tires were the best to go on, and it was a beautiful one. George Russell won pole. He started from pole, so Mercedes was very excited. Lewis Hamilton, on the other hand, did not take advantage of the pace of Mercedes, and he qualified in 7th. But he was able to make up space as soon as the race started because, he likes driving in wet conditions. And so it looked like Mercedes was having a good day. Then Max Verstappen was like, look, I'm not world champion for nothing. And my car is the fastest on this grid, whether it's wet, dry, or it's snowing. Somehow he found a way to overtake George Russell, and then the McLarens came out. It was people jostling for positions. I think the most exciting moment in the last few minutes of the race was when George Russell overtook Lewis Hamilton on the last lap, when Lewis Hamilton was going for podium finish. And I think it was because, I would say this, Mercedes did Lewis Hamilton dirty in the sense that the medium tires are the faster tires, the hard compound tires last longer, and they put Lewis Hamilton on the hard compound tires when what he needed was speed, not longevity. So at the end of the day, his tires did give out, and George Russell was able to just pip him at the end of it. So yes, it was a tricky race. It was an interesting one, but ultimately, Max Verstappen still won. So what did we learn in class today? That F1 is something people competing, and Max Verstappen wins. All right, let's go to the...
It's still the Locker Room on Smooth 98.1 FM. Still plenty more to come on the other side. Akaraz and Shontek will find out more.
Yeah, I started with the Nigerian story today. So I started with the football story today. So let's do some tennis, please. Annie, why are you late? Downstairs doing what? I didn't see you downstairs. I was downstairs.
I am telling you. Good morning.
When did you come to the kitchen?
Around 8.
Hey, you're late now. I was looking for you at 7. What do you mean here? Around 8.
I was still on the road at 7. How are you doing, ma?
I'm fine.
You want? Okay, we'll go straight to messages.
Yeah, we'll go to messages first, and then we'll take messages. We'll take YouTube messages, and then 2 messages from WhatsApp,
Okay.
and then we'll come
So
back
what
to
do
the
you are
stories.
skipping tennis for now, going to Madrid?
No,
Okay.
we're going straight to tennis. How can we skip tennis? How? Based on what? You have feminine Nadal
Mm.
and a phenom called Carlos Alcaraz, and you want to skip tennis? Why?
And you
Don't you like good things?
and you called it out well. You know, last week when you were talking about,
because I gave them food. And they all ate.
you know, you were talking about is if you could manage that
That
injury
is,
well.
oh
that
yeah,
time,
I was, but he
good.
wasn't my favorite to win, but he shocked me.
Oh,
He wasn't my favorite. I thought Cena was going to win it. He beat Cena.
Anyways, okay, just take a picture.
He beat Cena on Saturday and then beat Alcaraz on Sunday, both 5 sets.
Okay, bye.
that is still the locker room on Smooth 98.1 FM. Tega still here. Zibby also here. Let's pick up messages now.
Let's
See,
start with YouTube.
YouTube is set up already, and AGK Neke says, great one that we didn't lose that game at the very least. Yes, some of the questions rattled Finidi as the Onojiafe thing was obvious, and I hope he can turn things around against Gennett Ross' team. And it goes on. I says, accusing me of setting up our agenda up for this morning with all the Eric displays. Say, good, read the Flamingos question, read it again. And then, okay, it's all about AGK, honestly, here. It's AGK, so the others are yet to come on board. But AGK, we see the messages. And one more for the track, he says, for Mercedes and their strategy towards the end and tire changes, will say the favorite at this time is George Russell.
Yep.
Then we'll find this next one here.
All right.
AY from Oniru.
AY from Oniru says the Super Eagles failed to win yet again to secure the 3 important points in the World Cup qualifiers. Now Nigeria sits in 5th position with just 3 points. So I'd like to ask, do we need to start bringing out the calculator? Well,
No,
isn't that always the way it goes?
It's too early. It's too early.
All right. Ian says, please, Omas needs protection. All right, let's move on to the tennis court. Iga Swiatek strengthened her reputation as the queen of the clash. Did I jump into the future?
Go to Alcaraz first.
Okay, let's start off with Tega's baby Alcaraz. Carlos Alcaraz said his maiden French Open triumph on Sunday was the proudest moment of his glittering career. Now, he became the youngest man to win the Grand Slam on all 3 of the sport's surfaces, following his Wimbledon and US Open titles.
Yeah, it was interesting, because when he started climbing up, when he had that meteoric rise, I think a lot of people thought this was certainly a clay court specialist. And so the fact that he won the US Open and Wimbledon first before he won Roland Garros was quite interesting. And when he came into this, there was pressure. First of all, with the injury, he had that forearm injury. So the question was, how fit was he to win Roland Garros? I was one of those that said he was not my favorite because of the injury, he couldn't really gauge his forehand, and that was one of his most lethal shots. Then there was also the pressure that clay is supposed to be his preferred surface. So why is he struggling? And remember, he cramped up last year in the semi-final against Novak Djokovic. So people were asking if he really just had the mental fortitude to bear the pressure of being a favorite on a surface. But this guy answered every question. Even despite the struggles with his arm injury, he didn't play his best of tennis. Make no mistakes. I watched Alcaraz all through this tournament. I didn't see an Alcaraz that was anywhere near good as he was last year. But that's the hallmark of one of the Hall of Famers. When they can get into the tournament, not playing the best tennis, but coming out with the trophy. I think I would say this. His biggest opponent to me was going to be Yannick Sinner. But Yannick Sinner was also struggling with his thigh injury. So both Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz came into this tournament and they were not 100%. And so when they met in the semi-final, I was just like, whoever wins this one wins the tournament. I didn't think Carlos Alcaraz was going to win it. I thought it was going to be Yannick Sinner, but Carlos Alcaraz just had the extra edge in the 5th set to win that tie, and then he went again into the final against Sasha Zverev to win the tie. I would say this, there were a few people that wanted Sasha Zverev to win, but I didn't want Sasha Zverev to win because despite the fact that when I first saw Sasha Zverev, I thought this guy was definitely a multiple-time Grand Slam champion. However, in the past few years, he's had some domestic violence cases that he's been settling his way out of. And both of the two women, different women, two different times, with evidence, has said that he strangled them and pinned them to the wall. Apparently, that's a favorite thing of him to do. So yesterday, when Alcaraz had him in the fourth set, struggling for his life, I was like, now you know what it's like to be strangled. Just know. But yeah, he had to settle another case just recently, a few days ago, domestic violence case. This time with the mother of his baby, out of court, and he was trying to tell the press that it means he's innocent. I was like, no, you only settle out of court and pay that kind of money if you're guilty of something. You're not innocent, because the court looked at your case and decided that they will go ahead with a court case. It was after the court said we can go ahead with a court case because the evidence is enough to go ahead with a court case, that you and your lawyers decided that you're going to settle out of court. You're not innocent. You're just not under arrest.
Let's drift on now to the other gender. Iga Swiatek strengthened her reputation as the Queen of Clay by capturing a third straight French Open crown with a crushing 6-2, 6-1 victory over 12th seed Jasmine Paolini on Saturday to claim her fifth Grand Slam title.
I'm telling you, she has 4 titles now on clay. This is another Nadal. 4 titles at Roland Garros. So definitely the Queen of Clay, definitely the best person on clay. She won the 1000 Masters in Madrid, that's clay too. She won the 1000 Masters in Italy, that's clay too. Becomes only the first player after Serena Williams to achieve that feat. So trust me, this is where she thrives. Her toughest match, I would say, was against Naomi Osaka, and Naomi Osaka will be kicking herself because Naomi Osaka came this close to knocking Iga Swiatek out. So I'm sure it's not only Naomi Osaka that will be kicking herself. Everybody else will be looking at Naomi Osaka with side eye. Like, why didn't you do it?
And she was mentioned. Naomi was mentioned in the post in the interview
Yes,
when
because
she spoke.
that was her toughest match. After Naomi Osaka made her cry from victory, she made sure she beat everybody else convincingly. She did not break a sweat. It's like, remember after Naomi Osaka, it was that she had that match where she dropped 23 games. Then she had that match where she bageled somebody twice and finished the match in 40 minutes. She was like, I'm out of here. Then the final was pretty swift. It wasn't the most interesting.
6-2.
Yeah, 6-2, 6-3. She was just like, Paolini, I don't have the time. I'm done. She was out of there. So yeah, Naomi Osaka. Everybody on the tour just looking at Naomi Osaka with bad belly. Like, why didn't you do the job? But yeah, Iga Swiatek, no doubt, she's the Queen of Clay, no doubt.
But again, reacting to this tennis from the women's side, they say when one door closes, another open. Does it sound like Coco Gauff to you?
Yeah, sounds like Coco Gauff winning the doubles. Even if she didn't win the singles, but yeah, she, for some reason, Coco Gauff knows how to pick great doubles partners. Remember when she started with McNally, and then it looked like her career was going better than that, so that partnership broke up. I think that partnership broke up because one person was faring well and the other person wasn't. Then she teamed up with another American too. No. Oh, how could I forget her name? Wealthy parents. I remember her name eventually. She's a top 10 player, but she had some injury problems, so that partnership had to be broken. So that partnership happened because of the injury problems, and then now it's Siniakova. This was their first time playing as a doubles partnership, and Coco Gauff has won her first Grand Slam with her. This is 8th for Siniakova, so she's a very good doubles partner. So great one for Coco Gauff. All in all, a fair tournament at the end of the day.
All right, let's move on to the next story. Now, goals in each half by Luka Modric and Ante Budimir got Croatia a historic first win over Portugal in 8 matches when they beat the host 2-1 in an international friendly on Saturday.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo remained on the bench.
Yeah, so I will say this. Every time I look at now I'm watching the friendlies, I'm looking at my potential favorites to win the Euros. And truth be told, till date, I cannot tell you who will win the Euros, because just when you think a team looks solid enough, they put up another display that you now start questioning different areas or different aspects of their game. I would say this, midfield, Portugal looks great. Going forward, they look like they need help. And again, it may come down to that. Defensively, they are questionable here and there, but nobody is 100% great defensively right now in Europe. So that's they're on level ground. But offensively, they still need to get that lethal finisher. And Cristiano Ronaldo, yes, was on the bench, but no guarantees that they created enough chances for him to put the ball in the back of the net. So it's a tricky one at this point in time. I don't know who my favorites are. I don't know if it's Germany. I don't know if it's I mean, I wanted to say it was going to be France, but the French have not had a great time out. I wanted to say they drew against Canada just yesterday too. So not exactly. So not an impressive one. You want to say Spain, but they pass the ball around a bit too much. For a team that I think the team that's going to win will have to be a little more direct. So at this point in time, I have no favorites to win. I'm certainly not looking at England.
Well, let's go on now to Declan Rice says there is work to be done if England are to go far at the Euro 2024 after a shock defeat to lowly rated Iceland in their final game for the tournament that starts this week, right?
Yes. So are we going to say lowly weighted Iceland still?
Exactly.
Because Iceland didn't pull up some fantastic
Right.
ones at the last Euro, so we can't call them lowly rated anymore because anything can just come up with that. But yes, England still have a lot of work to do. And again, I look at the players that they pick and you're like, that's not a bad team. But when they deliver results like this, you're just like, oh well, it doesn't matter how great the car is. If it's a learner that is driving it, the car is going to function as a learner is driving it. That's how simple it is. So ultimately, this thing is going to come down to how Gareth Southgate leads the team, and he's not the best right now. The loss was bad. I think at the end of the day, England got more stick for the reporting of the loss than the loss itself, because after the loss, I think they started using black players' pictures. Black players as the scapegoat of the loss. I think the one that was really obvious over the weekend was Saka, because Saka only came on after the 60-something minute. So why did you put his face as his picture as the face of the loss? The people that started the match, they don't have picture.
Ridiculous.
Do you understand? So it comes down to that, and then people are now juxtaposing it against when England scored 6 goals and some black players were on the score sheet, but they ended up using Jack Grealish's face as as the face of victory. And so there were questions about subtle racism. And I just said, well, good morning to all of you that are just finding out. Good morning.
Play for your national teams. You say no. That's the price that sometimes comes.
If you were in Nigeria now, then,
But to be fair, Nigerians still troll their players.
yeah, but would have won the match.
Maybe
If
we'll
just think
racially
about
troll
it.
them.
If we all had all our Bukayo Saka,
That is true,
Chidie
though.
Bereze, what are we doing drawing with South Africa?
That's true.
We'll beat the Amapiano out of them.
Okay, are we taking one last story?
Let's just take one last story.
All right, United States coach Greg Berhalter accused his players of lacking respect for Colombia after the South Americans romped to an emphatic 5-1 in a friendly victory over the Copa America hosts on Saturday.
Yeah, that was the story says what it is. Like I said, all the hosts for 2026 World Cup lost on the day, and America's own was pretty obvious. I think they didn't even play as well as they could have because they were taking Colombia for granted. I'm glad that Colombia just showed them who they really were. All right.
Let's go messages now. Waiting for Tayo here says Finidi George forgot the mantra, no grief for anybody. If he likes, let him talk more than that. We'll be there for him. I'm begging Oyene, Genet Raw and Benin to help his former employer in the name of all things righteous and remember the good times we had. Because we can't miss the next Mundial. The final outcome of the Eyimba versus Rangers match was embarrassing after all the hype and fanfare.
Yeah, sometimes it happens.
Then it makes a case for me. Oppression don't cover Omas for studio. Justice for Omas. Well, that's what he said. And it goes to Zverev strangling and being strangled. Man is balancing himself on the court and being balanced in court. And as it goes to the phone there, I thought Coco Gauff won a title. Yes, that's what
Yeah, she won the doubles.
Okay.
Yeah, she won the doubles at the Roland Garros, but she didn't. I mean, Iga won the singles.
Wait,
then,
Nonso, why do we always want to win at all costs? Do you want to lose? Who wants to lose, Nonso?
Why? Who wants to lose? And we are going to America. In fact, let me just tell the Super Eagles now. Me, I'm going to America. I don't know about them.
Then Larry from the abroad says Lando was unlucky yesterday. He was so far ahead, he missed a free pit stop when the first safety car came out and handed the advantage to Max Verstappen. Although the other safety restarts would have probably wiped out his lead. Meanwhile, Ferrari and weird strategy is like Nigeria and bad leadership. Very familiar bedfellow.
I'm telling you, which is why I'm very scared for Hamilton. I'm like, he went to Ferrari. Even when their car is fast, their strategy is poor.
Larry from the no Larry now Chaka Zulu says, well, I have always been baffled why no it goes, oh, the South Africa played with the spirit of character of Shaka Zulu. They were impressive. They had a game plan. It was a matter of pride for them. We seem to only excel on social media when it comes to performance. I pray we don't lose our bragging rights to South Africa. Shaka Zulu sent in that one. Emeka Onelum's thoughts here. First game, and Finidi is already giving us Ten Hag vibes. If Nigeria fails to qualify for this upcoming World Cup, I would just advise him and his crew to sack themselves. As for England, I see another calamitous campaign coming up for them. It's the black players like Bukayo. I will feel sorry for the most, as their faces will be used as the cause of the defeats.
Play for the land of your fathers.
At the end of the day, it's a tough one, but hey, it is what it is. All right, on that note, thank you for sending in your messages to Smooth 98.1. Thank you for sending your messages to WhatsApp and to YouTube. Thank you for tuning in to listen to us, and thank you for supporting Omas as his gender abandoned him over the weekend.
We'll redeem ourselves later tonight.
5 p.m. 5 p.m. You better redeem yourselves. And on that note, it's goodbye and thank you. You better redeem yourselves. If you cannot beat Benin, you might as well come home. No play again. No play with this badly team. I've pressed spoil. I've pressed spoil. I don't know how to stop this something.
Hey, okay, let's take what have you done?
I've pressed spoil.